Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Let me know if I'm coming through okay. I've been having some weird issues today with my audio. I just spent about 35-40 minutes trying to get everything all sorted. I ran some Windows updates last night, so I think maybe there might have been something there, but we'll jump into the before market, close market update and ticker requests. As always, if anybody does have any ticker requests, please let me know. And I know we had quite a few amount of new users lately. So again, just to kind of reiterate, if you go over to the market stocks channel, that's generally where I post it. And just like I did here today, I usually do at channel so everybody gets notified. I go live about 15 minutes before the market closes, and right now it's Tuesday and Thursdays. I'm going to be looking to switch that to 5 days a week again, but I might even look to switch it soon, maybe after the summertime. Once everybody goes on vacation and whatnot, and I'm planning on doing it myself as well. So maybe after the summer we can go back to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or something like that. And then the goal is to get back to 5 days a week. But essentially, you just go in there and then just like this here in the thread. And if you can let me know the exchange as well, because sometimes there's multiple with the same multiple tickers with different exchanges, and then sometimes there's multiple companies with the same ticker. And I don't have a whole lot of time today, and it looks like we have quite a few requests, so we'll just do a quick market update and then we'll jump into all of the ticker requests. But let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear. Like I said, I ran some updates and then I had to tweak some settings. Took me quite a while. I also played around with my microphone quite a bit, but yeah, it was really weird. Sometimes I would fire up my computer, and I got a brand new laptop, so it can't be that. Sometimes I would use different software, streaming software, and it would be better, but overall, it seemed like this one that I'm using now has a mind of its own. One day I would open the computer, start up the computer, it'd sound fine. The next day, for whatever reason, it'd be like volume output would be like half as strong. So let me know if it's coming through clearly in the live chat here if you don't mind. That'd be great. And then obviously having your volume up on your end will be helpful as well, but let me know if it's coming through okay. So we'll jump into the market update at the moment. I posted earlier today about Litecoin, and we're seeing a pretty decent move here on Litecoin. So we confirmed the daily bull flag, and the target is 93.90, and we're at the high of the day today, 89.85. So in terms of percentages, we're about 4.3% away. All good, Rod. Thanks, Jatinder. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, good. Yeah, I think it should sound a lot better now as well. All right, so we'll take a look at SPY. Actually, we'll just take a look at some of the movers and shakers here on the crypto side. Clear and loud. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got a lot of people complaining lately on my YouTube videos, so hopefully that puts that to rest. Jam says loud and clear. Perfect. Love to hear that. All right, so in terms of losers and gainers on the day today, we have Solo, Storage, and Casper. And then not surprising, we have Litecoin, Quant, and Doge leading the bull list today. I mentioned Link was a solid buy around that $12 to $11 area. We had a bear flag target of $12, and we hit a low of 10.10 actually. And off of that low, the recent high here, it's up about 52%. That would have been a great swing too, just in hindsight here. I was already pretty much packed in terms of my Link bags, so I didn't add any on this pullback. I've got I think an average somewhere around $9 anyways. But what a great swing trade that would have been, playing off $10 support. Hit 10.10, could have set your stop at, $9.90, $9.80, something like that. Allow a little bit of wiggle room, and essentially if you entered around that 10.10 area, you could have risked about, call it 2% to make 50+%. So that was a great risk reward opportunity. So SPY, thanks to big tech earnings yesterday, we had Microsoft and Meta, and they were really helping SPY and the daily bull flag. So we confirmed that daily bull flag, and we'll see, all eyes will be on Amazon and Apple after earnings today, or after market today. They'll have their earnings. So we'll see if they can continue this momentum. And the measured move here is 586 on SPY. All right, let's take a look at a few other names. So Tesla starting the daily bounce, but still not able to get above the recent highs of 294. SPCE was around $3 last time. Yeah, 289. So not much has changed there. MJ has been a roller coaster as per usual. In terms of losers on the day today, we have CXXI, Verano, and NEVI. And on the bull list, we have AYR, ACB, and Love. So Love, mentioned this one earlier today as well. Weekly bull flag, very close to confirming, came within a couple pennies. So it's all about 146. Break that, we hit 145. So we're 2 pennies away from confirming the weekly bull flag. And if we confirm it, you're looking at a move up to around 257, which would mean in terms of percentages, another 76, a little over 76% of upside from there. All right, well, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of time today. And part of it is because I was troubleshooting these audio issues and microphone issues, but I think that is a thing of the past now. And we'll jump through any ticker requests. So again, just like this, you can put the tickers inside the MSOS. That one's easy. There's only one. But yeah, if you can let me know the ticker, just in future, it's fine for now. But if you can just let me know the ticker and the exchange. Sometimes, like I said, multiple tickers have different exchanges. So the company can be listed on multiple different exchanges. And sometimes we have companies that have the same ticker. Like, for example, Love on the TSXV is Cannara Biotech, but Love on NASDAQ, or I think it's New York Stock Exchange maybe. I'll just show you. So you got Love, the Lovesac company on the NASDAQ, and then you got Love on the TSXV, right? So there can be some easy confusion there, and then sometimes people aren't on the live stream, so they're not there to correct me, so they watch the video after the fact, so it's just a way to make sure I'm not wasting time and getting you the most value as possible. All right, so Dan would like to take a look at VFF, Space, XRP, and HBAR. You can definitely do that. So VFF, we'll start with that one. They have earnings coming up here in a couple days. This is on I think it's on the 6th. Just take a quick peek at that. Yeah, I think it's on the 6th. Yeah, it says 6th here, so next week. All right, in terms of the weekly, yeah, we're looking really good here. The weekly, we're trying to regain organic compliance as well without having to do a reverse split. So I think they had until what, like October now, until October 16th or something like that to regain compliance. So they're getting close to that $1 mark. They did it in 2023. They regained it without having to do a reverse split. So we'll see if they can do it again. But yeah, stochastic MACD just crossed bullish. We're well above the 10-week moving average. It's looking good. If we can get over 87 cents or 50 weekly there, we have no resistance until the 200 weekly at 247. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some big news coming soon for the sector, whether it be rescheduling or banking. I think banking is the most likely scenario. Like I said, they're going to want to get the institutions, the Wall Street banks, the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans positioned first before they unleash the shackles, right? But the 200-day moving average there at 83 cents as well. So a lot of resistance in that mid 80 cent region. And then obviously $1 psychological. Get above $1, and I think we're, get above $1, confirm it as support, hover around for a little bit is probably what would happen, and then, break above $1.10, $1.20, and we could easily see this thing skyrocket up to a couple bucks based on how beaten down it's been. We did have a bull flag there. It was targeting 78 cents on the daily time frame, and we came within about 4.3%. And we had the EMA 12 and 26 bull cross lining up at the same time as the bull flag. So that was even more reassurance and confidence in that playing out. Weekly time frame, still yet to confirm a weekly uptrend. So when we do top out, we'll have a ton of room here to form a weekly high or low. See those EMAs tighten up and then see a bull cross. So we could even potentially see something similar to the daily time frame, where on the weekly, we form a weekly high or low and a potential bull flag, and then the EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. But overall, it's looking pretty good at the moment. We started the monthly bounce last month, so we'll see if we can continue that this month. The high to break is 75 cents. But yeah, still in a lot of downtrends, so we still need to confirm monthly uptrends, weekly uptrends. Still a lot of work to do. SPCE. right, so this one still kind of range bound here, but we're looking for the daily EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We're still not daily overbought yet either. And we're starting the daily bounce, but back within yesterday's range. Weekly time frame, still in a weekly downtrend. So bulls want to get as much of room as possible so that they can form a weekly higher low once it does top out here on the weekly bounce. Monthly time frame, still in a monthly downtrend as well. And I think we had a, was it an hourly bear flag? Or no, it might have been a, I think we negated that. But yeah, we broke out of that pennant bull flag. Yeah, we're topping right at the 10-week moving average. So if we can see a couple candle closes over that. I think I mentioned that in my recent video. There really hasn't been too much change since I made that video a few days ago. But it's all about the monthly time frame. We still haven't broken the high of last month, which it's a brand new month. So key resistance is going to be 310. Break that. The monthly bounce is underway. And that would be the first time really since back in October. So we're 7 months without a monthly bounce. So the next time that we bounce on the monthly, it's likely going to be a massive one, especially after, you know, dropping 99% and confirming the monthly bear flag here. So I could easily see us rally up to around that $6 to $7 area. If we started the monthly bounce, we could go as high as 8.11 and still be in a monthly downtrend, right? So this is an example of a great swing trade, especially playing off that monthly bear flag target. I think it was 222. But yeah, that one is no longer in play. And we could still see an inverse head and shoulders. So if we do come back up to around that $8 here on the monthly bounce potentially this month, watch for that inverse head and shoulders. And we're probably a few weeks before we see a golden cross, but maybe a month. XRP, take a quick look at XRP as well. So new month, monthly inside bar, need to break the high of last month to start the monthly bounce, and that's at 236. Just looking for a monthly higher low, bouncing off EMA 12. It's looking pretty decent at the moment. One thing that's a bit concerning is the fact that we're in a weekly downtrend. So key resistance in the short term here is going to be 259. We're trying to avoid this weekly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross and potentially weekly oversold conditions. So key support going to be 161. And we could be forming a bit of a head and shoulders here at the moment on the daily time frame. So we'll be watching that. Minute time frame. Yeah, we're downtrending on the 15-minute. That's a bit more clear there, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the hourly. So it's not looking too great here in the shorter term time frames. Wouldn't be surprised if we came back and back tested $2. Still expecting Bitcoin to. We're starting to see Bitcoin relative strength, right? We're hovering just under 100K. We hit 97.6K. So if we can get over 100K and then see Bitcoin kind of go sideways and melt up, that should bode well for a lot of these cryptos. And another thing we're trying to avoid as well, same as the weekly bear cross, is the daily death cross. So if that were to occur, the 50 cross down through the 200, that wouldn't be good. We'd more than likely be heading down to that $1.60, $1.50 area. So we'll just, as of right now, the 50-day moving average is acting as support. So want to see us get a close over 239 ASAP to be confident that bulls can defend that and prevent that cross from happening. Because if it did, like I said, we'd be heading sub $2 in a hurry, more than likely. H-bar is kind of similar. We're looking for a potential weekly MACD bull cross over the next couple of weeks. We're still fighting with that 10-week moving average, but it's a little bit further along here than XRP. We just had the 50 and the 200 weekly moving average bull cross, the first in history. And it's more than likely going to be crypto legislation in the US, right? There's talks about how they can get that done over the next few weeks and a couple of months. They're trying to get it done before August recess, the end of August. So if they get it done here over the next couple of months, also a lot of ETFs are being delayed until June. So it's looking like crypto legislation, ETFs could all potentially go live around the same time, sometime in May to June. And if that were to be the case, it's going to be a fun few months ahead before summer. And then generally, July, August is kind of where things drop off and you have a bit of a lull. But yeah, we already had the death cross on H-bar, so yeah, it's definitely further along than XRP, but that's not great to see because that increases the odds that XRP could see it as well. Bitcoin had one. XLM, I would wager, didn't. It's probably similar to XRP. Actually, no, it already did have hits. Well, so the fact that all these other names have already seen their death cross and XRP hasn't, it might just be that XRP's kind of leading the way at this point. And maybe, based on how beaten it down it's been, yeah, Ethereum had its death cross a long time ago. So it could just be that XRP's showing relative strength, and yeah, we're not really showing any major red flags whatsoever. All right, moving along. So Ben, take a quick peek at NK. So what I'll do is, if you've got multiple tickers, generally I try to recommend keeping it to 1 or 2. But if you've got 3 or 4, what I'll do is I'll spend a little bit more time on the first one, and then a little bit quicker on the remaining ones. So if you want to kind of prioritize your first and second picks, then we can, just for next time. NKE. I know we get a lot of new members and whatnot as well, so. Also working with a new marketing agency, and things are progressing nicely and kicking into high gear here. So should have a lot more exposure here soon. So NKE, Nike, we're looking at a potential weekly bear flag at the moment. Can't remember if I drew this out yet or not. No, I didn't. So if we go from the high to the low there, key resistance to get over is going to be 63.79, because if we don't, it's a potential weekly bear flag. And we did have this descending triangle as well. I drew that out. We had a target of about 50.63, and then we hit 52.28. So it came very close to that target there. And actually, we can adjust that just a little bit. It was about 51.30. Actually, I realized that actually pretty much bang on, yeah, because I drew it on the I think the monthly time frame, so I didn't have it. Yeah, it's pretty much bang on. Now that I have that perfectly aligned. On the monthly, it's the tiniest little. That's why I don't really like trend lines a whole lot either, because if you just move it a little tiny bit, it can skew the price like $2 or $3, right? Like especially on some of the higher price names. But yeah, weekly bear flag potentially here. So 63.79, need to get above that. If not, potential weekly bear flag. And in order to confirm it, we have to lose the low there at 52.28. So lose 52.28, that confirms it. And then our measured move would bring us down here to roughly $40.40. Yeah, and we're seeing a stochastic bull cross, but we're a long ways away before we see a MACD bull cross. And we're still well below the 10-week moving average. Weekly time frame, yeah, we had a 50 and a 200 weekly moving average bear cross, which on the daily, that's a death cross, which is even worse on the weekly, which is why the downside has been really brutal. Daily time frame, we had the death cross, tried a golden cross here, failed, and well below all of our daily moving averages. So yeah, Nike's been absolutely taking it on the chin lately, but not a bad entry, closer to that $50, and we just got to 52. So 52, we can start to average in 45, another one at 40. It's looking good. For longer term entries anyway, but in the short term, not looking too hot. Take a look at Hood. They just had earnings, did they not? I think that was yesterday. Yeah. So they beat slight beat on both EPS and revenue. The weekly bounce continuing this week after last week. Actually, the last 3 weeks in a row. And as of right now, we're just back testing EMA 12 on the daily time frame, still in a daily uptrend. Looks like a daily bull flag actually, or did we pull back? No, daily bull flag. So if we go from the low to the high there, you can see here it held the 0.32 fib perfectly, and we have a target of about 60.85. And then with the high of the day today, we came within about 17% of it, so looking decent. Key support in the short term is going to be 46.18, which is approaching. After that, like I said, we're down at 39.21. Hood on the weekly. So yeah, we're MACD's probably a couple weeks out, I would say. So it's not looking too bad here. And we held the 50 weekly on this pullback. And just like XRP, we could see a death cross here over the coming weeks, but we'll see if bulls can defend that and avoid that. CELH. Celsius Holdings, I think, is what you're after. So daily time frame could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. We just confirmed a daily downtrend with a lower high, lower low, so that's not a great sign. We have a daily bear flag shaping up here as well. And if confirmed, looking at a drop down to about 31.90, and 34.01 is key support. Lose that, we confirm it, and then, like I said, 31.90 potentially on our way to daily oversold. Weekly time frame, it's actually not looking too bad here. We're about to see an EMA 12. Yeah, we are actually seeing it happen now. The EMA 12 and 26 bull cross rather. That hasn't happened since way back here in May of 2023. And we're in a weekly uptrend. We have our low, high, higher, low, and higher high, higher, low, and higher high. It's actually a weekly bull flag. So I wouldn't be it's a little bearish here on the shorter term time frames, but bullish on the longer term. So we could potentially pull back to around like 32, 31, and then see a pretty big move after that. But in terms of the weekly, that would be where we topped out there, and we held the 0.32 fibs. So in terms of the weekly, key support is going to be 32.75. Lose that, then it's going to negate it. And then in order to confirm it, need to keep continuing higher with that continuation past 39.16. Nearby resistance, and then we're looking at a move up to around 50, 52. Google with an L. Yeah, so it's been hit pretty hard over the last few weeks, down about 32%. We lost the monthly uptrend, so that's a pretty big red flag. This could be a potential head and shoulders here on the monthly time frame. So if we do come back up to around $1.92, that could be our right shoulder on a head and shoulders. So you draw it something like this. And then if we were to see that play out, it would give us a measured move of a roughly 100, just under 100. And yeah, we're no longer monthly overbought. We're right around that median line, and we could potentially be heading to monthly oversold. So we could see a potential lower high here. Confirm a monthly downtrend would not be good. So yeah, it's looking like Tesla actually, before it had a major correction, and then an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well on the monthly. Look at what happened to Tesla. It was the same thing, right? We had the left head, right, EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, monthly downtrend. And I think we even had a death cross back then. Yeah, we had the death cross back there. If I go back 4 years. Yeah, it was right here. Death cross. And then we went down to 101. So it was a similar move. And if you just take the measured move from the head to the neckline there. Actually, let's use right there, because that was where the range pretty much was. Yeah, it was saying the target was like 103, and we hit 101. So it could be following. We could be seeing Google follow in Tesla's footsteps. Let's see if we have a death cross looming as well. Yes, we just had one. So that is not good. Reminds me very much of this Tesla chart. But with that being said, like we're set for a monthly bounce here. And I think that big tech's going to start to trend lower. Like I said, we have earnings as well from Apple and Amazon after market, but we should see a potential lower high here, and then that would give us a monthly downtrend potential, and we could even see a monthly bear flag, EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and a head and shoulders on our way to monthly oversold. So I'd just be very cautious with these big tech names. And we had hidden bearish RSI divergence as well, lower highs and lower lows on the RSI, and higher lows and higher highs on the price action. Same thing happened on Tesla as well back before. So you had lower highs and lower lows, and higher lows and higher highs on the price. That's called bearish RSI divergence. If it's happening the other way, it can happen on the flip side where you have lower highs and lower lows and we're trending higher. But I'd have to dig a little bit deeper for an example. Hopefully that helps. MSOS. This one is starting to heat up quite a bit as well, similar to VFF and the rest of the MJ space. So we started the monthly bounce last month, so key resistance is going to be 338, that high, and then if break it again this month, and the monthly bounce is underway. Wouldn't be surprised to see us at EMA 12, which would be at 460, which would imply a move of about 52% from current levels. We just had a stochastic and a MACD bull cross. We're set to close over that 10-week moving average for the second week in a row. I usually want at least two, but preferably three. And then we should see a very big move after that. And then we have nothing until the 50 weekly there at $5. And then in terms of the daily time frame, we would be looking at the 200-day moving average at 487. We have the 100 there at 316. So yeah, we could easily be back up to $5 or $6 on MSOS in a hurry. But still in a weekly downtrend as well. Anything under 383 still a weekly downtrend, and it could be a long time before we see a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. But again, coming off weekly oversold, anything 30 and below is considered oversold, and we were at 22. So if you would have entered there on heavily weekly oversold, whoops, that would have been an opportunity of about 66% off of the lows there. Or even just start to scale in where we're at, getting close to that 30 level and just scale in. But when we do top out, bulls have quite a bit of room to form a weekly high or low, and then if we change the weekly trend and confirm a weekly uptrend, then it'll mean business at that point. But still in a monthly downtrend as well. Same thing will happen on the monthly. Once we top out, form a monthly higher low, then a higher high. We need monthly uptrends across the sector before we call a long-term bottom. Until that happens, we expect sideways and more downside. So yeah, Litecoin, mentioned that in the chat room earlier and a little bit at the beginning. So it's a daily bull flag. It confirmed, and measured move was 93.90. We hit the high of the day today, 89.85. So we're about 4.6% away. Still not yet daily overbought either, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get back up to around that $93 to $100. Back down to around 80 after that, form a higher low, continue higher after that. Weekly time frame still in a weekly downtrend. Key resistance coming up is at 96.53. And look to switch those EMAs back into a bull cross. But again, more than likely going to top out here, I would say somewhere around that $93 to $100 area. And then form a weekly higher low, somewhere around that 80, maybe even 75, and then change the weekly trend as the most likely scenario. Still probably a few weeks before we see the MACD bull cross, so not expecting the price to really see some escape velocity and momentum pick up until at least a few weeks, in my opinion. And again, that makes sense because, again, I'm expecting Bitcoin to get back above 100K, and then once that happens, it'll probably get most of the attention, and then that'll bring the momentum back into altcoins after it starts to consolidate or go sideways. And that's looking like it's even more the case at the moment. Look at this the time frame here on the weekly. The 50 and the 200 could cross over the next few weeks as well, And generally that means a big move's coming after. Look what happened to XRP when that happened last. 50 was below the 200, it crossed, boom, price exploded. So same thing with Litecoin, same thing's happening now. Could easily be back up to 200 bucks if that were to be the case. And we just got the death cross out of the way, so now we're going to look to, we're getting back above it, confirming resistance into new support. And then, like I said, get above 100, then you're above all of our daily moving averages. And then we would be above all of our weekly moving averages as well. So it would be free reign to see some major momentum. And again, that makes sense, especially with the 50 and the 200 weekly moving average bull crossing. And 100 psychological as well. It's been an absolute brick wall for Litecoin, and it's one of the only names that hasn't seen a ton of upside over the last, it didn't break to a new all-time high this cycle, right? Yeah, Filecoin's been heating up too, off of the lows there at around 210. It's up about 40%. Same thing, going to be at least a month or so before we see the weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. And that lines up with my time frame as well. Sometime around the end of May into June, we could see alt season really start to pick up, crypto legislation pass, ETFs galore get passed. They might not start trading until a while after, maybe into the fall, but I think they will approve ETFs at some point soon, especially XRP and Solana. Litecoin should be tons of ETFs, spot ETFs launching as well. But yeah, looking pretty good here. Daily uptrend on Filecoin. I don't think it's a bull flag. No, we pulled back more than the 0.5, so already had the EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, and we're at risk of a daily downtrend now. So key support here is going to be 264. Lose that, we're probably heading down around 250, 248. And that maintains our daily uptrend as well. But yeah, monthly time frame, monthly inside bar. So to start the monthly bounce, we have to break 350. And then we have a lack of resistance up to 850. Still a lot of work to do on this one. I wouldn't expect any big moves for at least a couple of weeks, but it's looking good here on the weekly. The MACD is just crossing bullish now. Stochastic was bullish last week, and we're set to potentially close a weekly candle over this 10-week moving average. Again, what did I say? You want 3, preferably 3, but at least 2. And we're set to do 1 now. Look at this one. We got above it, but knocked right back down. So again, 1, sometimes even 2 is not that convincing. You want 3, preferably 2. Especially after being beaten down this much, I think 2 would be fine. And then we should easily be back up to around that 350 area. In terms of the weekly, we have nothing until the 50 weekly there at 416. And then the daily time frame, we have the 200-day moving average at 411. Just had the death cross as well. So yeah, it's looking like we could be forming a pretty decent bottom here. And over the next few weeks, we could see some serious momentum, which could bring us back up to around that $4 or $5 and beyond. This is one of those names where when it wants to run, it can run like crazy when it decides to. All right. That's it for ticker requests. Just checking in on the community. See if there was any new news that just came out. I'm not seeing anything major. There was that article, though, about a new cannabinoid that they found. So researchers announced they discovered a new cannabinoid in MJ. Study newly discovered cannabinoids from MJ flowers show anti-tumor potential against neuroblastoma. So again, somebody reach out to Chamath and say, but follow the science. Yeah, I digress. Don't even have the energy to deal with that nonsense at the moment. All right, going to end it there. Glad the microphone's coming through loud and clear, and hopefully that is behind us once and for all. All right, have a great night, and we'll talk to everyone in the chat room in a few minutes.